Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
So here's the real world, folks. I'm in a speech or whatever, and there's some young cherub who says, when did life change? Life changed with David Malpass. I can tell you exactly when it did. Something called LIBOR OIS went out 4 standard deviations. I'm in the show. The place is chaos, top to bottom. A Thursday in August of 2007. And I didn't scream, Paul. My usual charming way.
Good.
You know, like HR approved. Yep. Get Alan Meltzer, get David Malpass. And it was a magical show, one of the iconic moments within all that we're doing here at Bloomberg. Mr. Malpass went on from Bear Stearns, where he was definitive in writing essays on the American experiment, to his public service at the World Bank. Can I just say you look tanned and rested after the grind? What's the biggest grind of public office that we don't see?
That's good to see you, Tom and Paul. The grind is the travel. These conferences are constant, and I said no to each of the conferences. I didn't go to Davos.
And your staff said yes.
People say, but this is your responsibility, and so you travel, and nothing happens at the conferences. So I was happy to see President Trump on this latest the G20 going on in South Africa say we're just not sending people because they don't do anything that's useful.
I want to cut to the arch Malpass issue, which is the physics of two Americas. We have an America that's booming. Paul and I do it every single day. We have an America being left behind. On an historical basis, how separate are we right now?
I think you call it inequality, or that underperformance by the bottom is massive. Whether from a data standpoint it's the worst, but what we need is job growth at the bottom and median income growth. That is the whole concept of a good economic policy. I did that around the world. That the way we evaluate whether an economic program is going forward is the median income, the income of people in the middle after inflation going up. And so what we need, or what I think lots of policy changes can help with affordability right now. One that I've written about is what the Federal Reserve could do to stop causing this income inequality. We need a lot more energy production. We need permitting reform, which is really important in Congress. I think a capital gains tax cut would actually enable a lot more capital mobility.
Or see that, Paul, with accelerated depreciation.
Yep, absolutely.
Torsten Slok says that puts a point on GDP.
And very importantly, it puts a point, and that growth comes from small businesses that invest in new machines, which then enable workers and productivity. So it's a virtuous circle that you create from that, and we desperately need that now. I think Trump is going totally in the right direction. The problem is implementation of it, and my worry right now is that the Fed will choke it off.
So that's kind of where you were 2 weeks ago with your opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal talking about affordability. And that was certainly an issue in the elections in New Jersey and Virginia. Is the Fed too slow here in cutting rates to address its influence on affordability?
Yes. And so I did a Wall Street Journal article in June that they should have cut in that June meeting. And wouldn't the world be better if they had cut in June? Because you would have had the growth that came out of that, and the inflation wasn't occurring. You know, people kept saying there was inflation, and it didn't show up. Right. So they would have been able to cut and allow growth. That would have helped the supply chains, and maybe whether or not they could keep going now, anyway, you would have had the benefit of it. And I put in this latest article the cost to the fiscal deficit from them waiting. So the government has been paying way too much interest, and the Fed, of course, itself pays interest to banks for 3 months where the rate was too high. So they can change that, but I'm worried that we've already seen the bottom of the 10-year yield unless the Fed changes its models. They're right now looking backward at inflation, and they're going to have excuses why they don't want to cut anymore.
As a former president of the World Bank, you have a unique view of global trade. What's your view of the tariff policy of this administration and its impact on global trade?
I've emphasized that the trading system was really broken. We were in it thinking that everybody was playing by the same rules, and China wasn't. And you can look back and say, well, when did people figure it out? That doesn't matter. You're stuck in the WTO, the World Trade Organization system, that doesn't work at all when you have the second biggest economy with very aggressive industrial policy. They're using economy of scale. That means if you invest and you're the first mover in a sector, then you wipe out all your competition.
I got to get this in, David Malpass. You don't see this on radio, lucky you. For those of you on YouTube, Malpass has a gold tie on today that looks like the plated gold in the president's Oval Office as well. You are one of the few people that come in here that have been in the trenches of working out of a van, running for public office, in your case, the Grand Old Party. How does the GOP move forward with a centrist tendency? How do the Democrats, the evil Democrats, David, move forward with a central tendency? Where is the center tendency that you've written about for 40 years?
I ran for Senate in New York State in 2010. So it was the Tea Party days. That was the idea that you could create growth with lower tax rates, with different policies, and basically with a giant upheaval in Washington. So that means each department changing so that they stop blocking growth.
Yeah, but look at the president's ratings. I mean, the giant upheaval ain't too popular right now. How do we get back to the centrist politics that you and John Riding and all wrote about years ago?
So I think you have to implement the upheaval that is going on now. And that means in each area, you need more work on the tax code. You need more work on restraining government spending, because Washington just wants to spend all the money in the world. And very importantly, these Fed reforms would allow capital to flow to small businesses. So that's the core of it. It's the same message. And I think it is Trump's basic message, but you have to implement each part of it in each department.
No, maybe that's not happening. David Malpass, thank you so much. Paul, I'm just going to mention this now. The interview of the year, maybe the moment, was Nancy Lazar, talking much like David about at the micro level, we have to create jobs.
Yep, absolutely.
And you do it through incentives.
Yep.
And all.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll have to see.
We'll get a lot of economic data.
You're enjoying not being in public service?
Thank you, guys. Yeah, that's fine. For one, I exercise more and and don't travel which isn't. I've done it for so many years. It's.
Do you get World Cup tickets? Do you get special tickets?
Very important. I signed the FIFA ball. So at the G20 in Indonesia in 2022, it was amazing. But Ukraine had already been invaded. There was this big round table, and so Biden was there, and Macron, and everybody, and the FIFA guy was there, and that he was the center of attention, and I got signed the ball.
This is great. David Malpass with the FIFA guy. Greatly appreciate it. Mr. Malpass, of course, former president of the World Bank.